그 여정에 함께하는 위드 슬로우 스타터 캠페인을 시작합니다. 더 많은 첫걸음이 시작될 수 있도록 발달장애인의 출발을 응원해주세요. 공익광고 협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
Railways. Railways are a crucial part of a region's infrastructure, connecting neighborhoods within a city and connecting that city to other parts of the nation. And Busan City is in the process of establishing its railway plans for the next 10 years, as well as signing new deals for a broader Buulgyeong connection. So railways affect our everyday commute and broadly to the type of businesses and industries that come into the city. And in a way, this new railway map can map out the city's future for the next decade. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Tuesday, November 5th on BeFM, 부산영어방송. Good morning, Wavers. It is already Tuesday, the 5th of November, if you can believe. I hope you're all doing well. So, if you live in South Korea, you have probably heard of the term 역세권, being in close proximity to a subway station. And this is really important when it comes to real estate and shows how important subways are for a city's transportation network. So we are going to have new 역세권s, subway adjacent homes coming up in the future as Busan is currently working on the next urban railway network for the 2026 to 2035 period. So this means that for individual districts, the competition is on. Most district representatives, they ran on this kind of a platform, their policy of getting a subway line to go through their respective neighborhoods. The line under the most attention is this C-Bay Park line to run between Central Bay, hence the C-Bay, to the North Port area, to the Busan Citizens Park. Now, some lawmakers are calling for this line to add a Yeongdo portion as well and to span the Chung, Dong, Nam, and Busanjin districts. Lawmakers from regions not included along this line are working to get their respective interests reflected. So these areas are across Songdo, Nopo to Cheongwan, and from Yeonsan to Centum City. So there's a lot of interest right now going on for these new subway plans, and we'll see how the city gets newly mapped after this process is complete. It's kind of exciting to think about, though, about this the next generation, kind of subway lines and the mapping out of such districts. So we'll keep on top of this, and we'll continue to talk about this throughout the next 2 hours. But now it's time for you, the Wavers, to check in with me with your text topic. So here it is. I want your responses to the text topic. What bad habits have you successfully quit? Or maybe you're in the process of quitting. Whether it's like I'll give you some examples. Maybe smoking is a common one. Or maybe cutting, sugar out of your diet. Cutting out soda from your diet as well. Or maybe, maybe you've been on, I'm going to stop drinking kind of wagon. So if you have that, or maybe you have successfully quit a bad job or a bad relationship. How about that? 자, 금연, 금주, 설탕, 손톱 물어뜯기 등 내가 독하게 끊어본 적 있나요? 무엇인지. 그리고 관계도 독한 마음으로 끊은 관계가 있는지. Maybe they were toxic for you for whatever reason. So you can send in your responses to BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. So go to YouTube and you search for BeFM or 부산영어방송, and then you can subscribe, you log in, and you can chat with our other waivers. Also, on your phone, you can send in your messages through pound 9050 or shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free through our Kakao Talk channel as well. Same thing there. Go to Kakao Talk, search for BeFM or 부산영어방송 to find our channel, and you can send in your messages or photos, etc. Also, the ways you can listen to our program, 90.5 or 103.3 FM, that's on the radio. Also, like I just said, we're streaming live as we speak on YouTube. You can watch at your leisure. Also, 2 apps. So first, we have the BeFM app, our own app. It is free. It's easy to download. We are also available on the Podbang app as well. So it is Tuesday, looking ahead to our morning together. What do we have for you? So we have, yes, Andrew with Sports Insider. We also have Bonnie with The Health. For a special interview, we're going to be speaking to our resident expert on politics. Why? Well, here in Korea, it's already November 5th. So stateside, not yet. November 5th. We've been leading up to the U.S. presidential election for quite a while. We're going to tackle diplomacy and security policy today with Professor Kim Byung-ju. That is coming up in hour number 2. So stay tuned for that, and I'll be back with today's headlines. It is now 7:06, and these are today's headlines. Yoon calls for bipartisan cooperation and to address to the public on Thursday. President Yoon called for the parliamentary parties' cooperation to pass the government's 677.4 trillion won budget before the deadline in a speech read by Prime Minister Han Duck-soo. PPP leader urges Yoon to issue public apology. Ruling party leader Han Dong-won yesterday called on President Yoon to issue a public apology and reshuffle aides at the presidential office to address growing concerns over allegations surrounding the First Lady. DP leader agrees on scrapping financial investment income tax. Main opposition Democratic Party or DP leader Lee Jae-myung said yesterday he has agreed on a push by the ruling party and government to abolish the planned financial investment income tax. Putin meets North Korean Foreign Minister Choi Sun-hee. Russian President Vladimir Putin has met North Korean Foreign Minister Choi Sun-hee at the Kremlin in Moscow, where Choi delivered greetings from Kim Jong-un, and Putin welcomed Choi as a friend. Trump and Harris make a last push in final day of campaign. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are in battleground states, with Harris holding 5 events in Pennsylvania and Trump going to North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and ending the day in Michigan. And these are today's headlines. Listeners, it's now for us to check in with Haley. She's here with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
And we swear we did not call each other.
We didn't even realize until we sat down to get the camera angles, and we're like,
whoa.
I was like, wait, which one's me?
I mean, how?
I
don't know.
Yes.
But as they say, great minds think alike. Or at least I'd like to think that, right?
Or, we have very limited closet choices.
Yes, we need a budget for...
We need wardrobe budget.
Yeah, we do. Anybody listening? Okay.
No, but you do know, even if you got a budget, we'd
Yeah.
still be picking black and white.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes, our favorite colors. Well, before we get into our Busan updates, let's talk about things or people that you have quit.
People, ooh. Well,
Yes.
I've successfully quit. I used to bite not my nails, but the skin around my nails.
Oh,
yeah, the
that area, the
cuticles. Yeah, that
cuticles?
area. Yeah. I've mostly quit that. But it's this.
I've
season's
never seen you do
really-
it, though.
That's because I quit as an adult. Because I was like, all right, I'm a grown woman. I gotta stop doing this.
Okay.
But then this is dangerous season because that's when you're like you get the little like. Little skin because it's so dry outside. So I need to like consciously, it's like, it is very addictive. I'm like, all right, gotta put lotion on it, gotta just clip it. And then I would like to quit snacking. It's never gonna happen.
But how
Never.
did you quit, like, biting on your cunicle? Did you put
like
stuff on?
moisturize. So like the skin wouldn't like rise up. So yeah, just moisturize. I know people who like put nail polish or like the bad tasting kind.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Anyways.
Well, at least you quit that habit.
That's true. But I will continue to munch down on snacks.
Ooh, yum,
So,
yum. All right, we're going to jump into our first Busan update for our top story. We're going to go to the economic situation in the retail sector. What's going on?
Right. So demand, 내수 or spending, 소비, these are the two keys to, increasing economic growth.
Yes.
However, overall in the entire country, we're not really seeing huge improvements on that front. And of course, Busan is not an exception there. And this is actually in spite of the government saying that they're seeing recovery in demand, or at least we will see recovery shortly. However, when we are looking at things like cars, sales of appliances,
Yes.
and the service industry, we are really not seeing that improvement. So let's take a look at Busan, where retail figures are particularly low. So for the third quarter of the year, department stores, they reported a 1.6% decrease in sales, and that's compared to the same time last year.
Yes.
And then for large supermarkets, it was even worse, a 5.7% decline. And other smaller retailers, the mom and pop stores, their sales went down by 4.4%. So this is certainly a bad reflection of how small businesses are doing.
Yes, absolutely. So,
And then, a matter that's connected to that is how much people are like out and about on the streets.
Okay.
So people going on expressways and highways, there was actually just barely an increase of 0.8% in September, which compared to a 3-point increase in July and August during the peak travel summer vacation months. Definitely a stagnant movement. And that points to decreased demand and spending.
I see. So that's what's going on in the retail sector. Not great news. Well, let's move on and talk about a major climate event that is happening in Busan later this month.
I mean, something maybe connected to spending, or at least something that'll get the local economy moving.
Yes.
But also in a larger picture, the environment, very, very important issue. So Busan City is hosting the 5th session of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee to develop an internationally binding agreement on plastic pollution. So this is UN 플라스틱 협약 제5차 정부 간 협상위원회.
Right.
So the first sessions, and this is abbreviated to NIC, the first NIC sessions took place in Uruguay back in 2022. It's been ongoing with the 5th, and this being the final session coming to Busan.
Yes.
So the sessions are hosted officially by the UN Environmental Program and run by the South Korean Foreign Ministry. So there will be some 3,000 people in attendance, including delegates from 170 nations. So the main event, the main sessions will go from November 25th to the 1st of December.
Sure.
But in the meantime, there will be a lot of public events for us to enjoy to really raise awareness on the issue of plastics usage and pollution.
Yes. Well, can you walk us through some of the events? Because we want to know more about this.
Right. So a lot of that will be here in Centum City. So the events themselves will be at Bexco, but for the general public, it'll be at the Cinema Center on November 23rd for 2 days.
Okay.
There will be a variety of public events and kind of hands-on experiences that we can due to really raise awareness on plastics usage. And there will be also a campaign on cutting down on disposable single-use plastics at Bexco, and that'll be on November 26th.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for letting us know about this event. Next up, let's talk about local university students who are leading the way in raising awareness on the dangers of drugs among younger students.
Right. So there have been increasing concerns of drug usage, especially amongst younger, down to children,
Yes.
teenagers.
Right.
And local college students are stepping in. So the Busan National University, PNU, held a drug prevention and education seminar recently. And this is an organization, it's called DEPCOK. It was founded by Korea University, and it's been spreading across the country. And the PNU branch launched at this seminar. So this is basically a students' drug usage prevention organization.
Okay.
And this is actually the first time in Busan where university students launched an educational group for this purpose. So members here will run campaigns at their university weekly, and then the goal is to expand that to prevention programs in elementary, middle, and high schools.
Ah, yes. So, this is really important as this whole issue, drug use, drug abuse is rising rapidly, especially among the younger generation.
Right. So according to the Supreme Prosecution Office, their figures from last year, it shows that the number of drug offenders in their 20s accounted for the highest figure out of all groups. But then if we're looking at teens,
Yes.
the rate of drug usage in teens is rising by the highest margin, rising the most rapidly. And that's double compared to the year before. And I don't know if your school back in the States had it, but was it DARE? Don't
Yes.
remember what that stands for. It was basically an organization of students trying to prevent drug usage. And because peer pressure is such an important matter when it comes to alcohol and substance abuse, so peer pressure on the other direction, especially for younger students, university students they have that cool factor. So
Yes.
having them go into their school and then speaking to younger students directly, it has socially proven to have a large effect.
If I could be wrong, but I think DARE, DARE was drug awareness and resistance education or something along those lines.
Well done. Well
So
done.
I'm trying to remember.
Right.
I might have gotten one of the words of the acronym incorrect, but it was along. But this is quite similar to that,
Right,
right? So
right.
it's hopefully it'll be effective though. All right. Finally, this happens to be Whatabel week here in Busan. Really?
Right. Maybe that's why our staff's on vacation.
Yes,
Yeah,
I don't know. We need it.
Well,
We need it.
Well, yes, we do need it. Whatever work-life balance is so important.
Yes.
So Busan City is running a series of events for said work-life balance. They're awarding companies that have excellent track records on work-life balance in their corporate culture. So
Sure.
having various policies or even institutions on childcare, own support structures or systems for education, family care, and much more. And this is really to spread that culture all across the city.
All right. Well, thank you for all the updates, Haley. We'll check in with you real soon. And with that, we're going to get to your traffic and weather. Waivers out there. It is now 7:17 in the morning on this Tuesday, and let's get your traffic report out to you. It is looking slow on Leunung Samsung-daedo from the Myeongjin ramp to Shinho Bridge right now. Also, congestion is detected on the Dongso overpass from Hwangyang ramp to the old Gaegeum toll gate, and there's backup also on Nakdong-Namno from Hadan intersection to Haguwon Bridge. So as for the weather, it's currently 15 degrees Celsius under clear skies, and the daytime high is going to go up to 20 degrees today. So it is much colder elsewhere across the country. Some central regions are seeing big drops in the morning low with rain forecast for parts of Gangwon and also Gyeongbuk. Snow may make an appearance in some mountainous areas of Gangwon as well. This was your traffic and weather.
Are you an early bird? Are you up to date on the news? Are you a trendsetter? For all of the biggest issues from Busan to the world and useful information you need, right here on Morning Wave in Busan.
All right, we are back for News Digest. So let's jump into the first topic today. So with Haley, we're going to talk about the fact that it is D-1. So it's finally here for that, U.S. presidential election that we've been working up to.
Or it's coming soon.
Yes,
real
yes.
soon.
So let's take the time to kind of step back and go over the major moments from this, we'll just call it a roller coaster of an election season.
Right. And of course, the candidates, as you said in news highlights, are busy. And I'm like, how does one cover 3 states in a day or hold 5 rallies in a day? But things are happening. We're going to take a step back because this was, it felt like the longest election, but it was
Ever.
actually, yes.
But it's not.
But it's actually one of the shortest.
Yes.
I mean, at least if you're looking at the official election. So
Yes.
it did begin, if you remember, as a relatively boring deja vu, a repeat ballot, and that was suddenly turned into an unprecedented election of first.
Yes.
Because if you do remember, it did begin as a Biden-Trump ticket, part 2, again. And this is an election where many voters felt like, I've heard expression, pulling teeth.
Yes.
I will vote because I have to, but I really don't know for whom. And we did have terms like double haters, people who did not want to vote for either. And one reason for this was former President Donald Trump's legal risks.
Yes.
Because, and I'm going to walk you through the timeline. We're going to go back to May 30th, which is only a few months ago. Trump became the first former U.S. president to be convicted of felony crimes.
Yes.
This was the Stormy Daniels case where he was found guilty of having used campaign funding political funding to pay off the former porn star ahead of the 2016 election. By the way, this hasn't ended. Although he's been found guilty, sentencing has been postponed until November 5th, which is tomorrow, U.S. time. So that sentencing trial will come up at some point in the near future.
Sure.
So after that, the next major date we look at is June 27th, the debate. It's the debate.
I call it the debacle.
Yeah, the debacle, right. Because Biden had a disastrous debate performance where he really rambled and it sparked questions and concerns about his mental acuity, whether he would be fit to serve 4 more years.
And then it was just like nonstop roller coaster action because there was is he going to stay in?
Well,
What's going on?
He would, and his wife said he would, and everybody else said maybe you shouldn't.
Yes.
But then in the meantime, and this was kind of when, where if you're looking at like stock market charts, this was when Trump stocks were lit red. Like he couldn't do no wrong.
Right.
Because the Supreme Court, they handed Trump a major victory. They gave him partial immunity, 면책권, or at least 부분 면책권, for things that presidents do in official capacity. So that includes a part of the January 6th riots. And then the assassination attempt. That was on July 13th.
Oh, gosh.
A gunman shot Trump, grazing him in the ear, and that was at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Another man was unfortunately shot and killed.
Right.
And this was just days before the Republican National Convention, where he rose to kind of a godlike stature. So he was relatively unharmed, nothing major. But this is where he announced his VP candidate, J.D. Vance. But here, in this odd visual, thousands of people wearing bandages on their ear to support Trump.
Yes.
And it just, at that point, it seemed like there was this meant-to-be mood in the arena and really across the country.
That's true.
Right.
And by the way, we are still talking about a Biden versus Trump ticket at this point, right?
Right. So we're in mid-July, but then Biden gets COVID. So things looked really bad. Like Trump kind of rose from the dead, so to speak. And then Biden got sick, which really not great for his image as like an older man.
Exactly.
And then I think he kind of had an epiphany, or at least a change of heart. He took the weekend with the closest circle, then announced very suddenly that he's dropping out. That was on July 21st.
That was the bomb.
That was the bomb because
Literally.
I think his White House chief of staff found out, and then he clicked, and Biden clicked like send button on his Twitter account like moments later.
Yes.
So at this point is when things turned. This is when the Democrats took the spotlight because now it's a race with Kamala Harris because Biden immediately endorsed his vice president
Yes.
as the first woman of color to be on the major party nomination. Her campaign, by the way, pulled $81 million in the first 24 hours. That is a record.
Yes.
And then her choice of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate also went over relatively well as he was seen as to kind of fill in spots that some moderate voters may have found to be points of concern in terms of their stance. He's a former high school football coach, former teacher, and a member of the National Guard.
Yes.
And then the second debate. In September, Harris was widely seen as the winner, but Donald Trump, he did take the spotlight, not in a great way, and that was with the Haitian immigrants eating people's dogs and cats. False, completely false, but that's what he said.
So that is the run-up up to where we are now, right? And thank you for that. That was a really good summary. So speaking of which, this has been an election of really sharply worded statements, and it's just really nasty.
Absurd words.
Yes.
Words.
Yes.
So let's look at the election through things that were said.
Okay.
The first keyword, hashtag weird.
Weird, like 이상하다.
이상하다, 희한하다, 이상하다. And that is like the Tim Walz trademark. And kind of why Tim Walz became the VP candidate because he has a knack for breaking things down in like digestible wording.
Yes.
Like weird. And that's how he described JD Vance. Like, I don't know why they're so invested in your privacy and things that would be private.
And by the way, we're not endorsing one side or the other. We're just reporting on what was said.
And we're going to get to what, the other candidates said too.
Okay.
But that weird wording seems to have really irritated Trump and Vance.
Sure.
And then childless cat ladies. Who can forget? And this was the comment from JD Vance.
Yes.
By the way, he said it not when he was the VP candidate.
It was years ago.
But it resurfaced.
Yes.
And many people, including Taylor Swift, who is a cat lady, not married, childless, hit back. And this did reveal, though, the Trump ticket's weakness when it came to women, especially young women. And then it does go in line with the whole Haitian immigrants comments. And then retired General John Kelly, who served as Trump's former chief of staff, fascist was the term he used to call Trump, saying that Trump at one point said he admired at least some things that Hitler did.
Right. So that is what's happening there. And it's November 5th here, but not quite in the United States. So it's coming real soon. Okay, so we'll cover the election, of course. Well, let's bring things back domestic issues. So apparently the government is looking into making it mandatory for day laborers to pay health insurance.
Right, so we're talking about 일용직 노동자.
Okay.
But the government is looking to increase the financial sustainability and soundness of the health insurance system by imposing insurance for day labor income.
Yes.
So income from 일용직 노동, day labor, that's been considered as income for those who are in economically vulnerable situations. So you have unstable jobs, and these are usually labor manual jobs in the construction sector or in factories.
Right.
So conventionally, the government has not taken health insurance fee out of it. However, according to the authorities, at least they say this is no longer the case.
What proof, though, of this do we have?
Well, the government said that the rise in minimum wage has also led to an increase in their overall pay. So National Tax Service, 국세청 figures show that the average annual day labor made 8.65 million won back in 2021.
Okay.
But last year that went up to 9.84 million. But by the way, this is still like 900만 원, a little under 1000만 원 in the entire year.
Right.
So they're not swimming in money or even meeting the standard of living.
Sure.
But there were some collectively 7 million day laborers last year who collectively made 69.4 trillion won. And the authorities also said that this is also to correct the convention of giving foreign laborers exemption from health insurance. And the government said that last year, some 458,000 foreign nationals working as day laborers collectively made 9 trillion won.
Right, but once again, that is collectively. I know it sounds like a huge number, but yes.
Yeah, not at all.
All right. For now, though, we're going to go to our final story. The Supreme Court has come up with sentencing guidelines for animal abuse.
Right. So the Supreme Court Sentencing Committee yesterday announced that it passed a new sentencing guideline or recommendations for cruel killing or abuse of animals.
Okay.
So what sentencing guidelines are in Korean, that's 양형 기준. So they're usually the sentences that are in reality doled out by the courts, because a judge who sentences lower or higher than the guideline, he or she has to write the reason in their verdict, in their opinion. So
I see.
usually they stick with the numbers. But under the new guidelines, an act that results in the killing of an animal would be sentenced between 4 months to a year in prison, with heavier sentencing going up to 2 years.
Okay.
Inflicting pain or injury upon animals, so animal abuse, has been set at 2 months to 10 months. Heavier sentencing could go up to a year and a half. But for repeat offenses, that sentence could go up for killing of animals, maximum of 3 years.
Oh, well, this comes as a police booked a man for the multiple killings, deaths of his pets. Is that
right.
true?
Not killings, because this seems to be death by negligence, but it is a bizarre case. A man in his 20s in Cheongju has been booked for animal negligence, potentially animal cruelty, depending on how the investigation pans out.
Yes.
It seems that the police went to his home last month because his landlord had called the police and said that they couldn't get a hold of their tenant for quite some time.
Okay.
He wasn't home, but when the police opened the door, they found like hundreds, dozens to over 100 lizards and reptiles and snakes. They found 80 geckos and 15 snakes dead.
Oh.
And he had multiple others, 152 additional lizards and 4 snakes that thankfully are alive. They've been taken in by animal rescue groups, and they're being put up for adoption. The man said he left town for a job and just left the animals there.
Oh, goodness.
Right.
What was he thinking? Well,
Yeah.
all right, we're going to end our news segment for now. Of course, we'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you for all the news, Haley.
Thank you.
And with that, it is now time for our first song break. So here it is. I'm kind of enjoying choosing all the songs, and forgive me if you don't like my song choices. But first one up, this is Falling by John Park.
하얗게 번지는 머릿속에다 그대를 새겨놓고 저 멀리 날아가 모든 게 보이는 두 눈을 감고서 시간을 되돌려서 날도 너무 아팠던 날도 이제 돌이켜보면 그저 그랬었나요? 아니란 말이에요. 멍든 가슴도 멍해진 내 감싸 펼치는 하늘 위에서 한없이 추락하는 날 보고만 있네요.
Welcome back. I know that song really does get me in the mood for the beautiful weather that we were having, this brisk, crisp mornings. Just love it. Okay, our main story today, we're talking about the railways or subways running in and out of our city. A major part of this is the Bulgyeong Pan-Regional Railway connecting the Ulsan KTX station to Yangsan and Gimhae, which would also run through Busan as well. So this 1.9 trillion won project has been picked to be on the preliminary feasibility study on that list for the Ministry of Economy and Finance. So if that passes, that construction, that phase, if it's a go, if we get a green light, the construction may begin as early as 2027. And you might think, oh, that's far off. Not really, because we're almost to 2025. And this is on top of another railway to connect major cities in Bulgyeong within like an hour of each other. How amazing is this? So these interconnected railways will, of course, integrate the three areas' economies and industries, but also make the traveling of people and logistics much easier. And such a complicated project involves full cooperation from the three governments to get the necessary funding and backing from the central government and parliament. So that's what we're looking at for these, for just getting to be more connected with other parts of our area. So I think it's amazing. Now back to you, the waivers. So what bad habits have you successfully quit? Or maybe you're in the process of quitting. So whether it's smoking, whether you're choosing to stop drinking, or, other, not such great habits. But it could be something like, biting your nails, cutting, sodas or sugar out of your daily diet. Or maybe you just quit a person, meaning you got to have a toxic relationship. Or maybe you're thinking about it. So, 금연, 금주, 설탕, 손톱 물어뜯기 등 내가 독하게 끊어본 것은 생각만 해도 난 너무 독하다. 이거 정말 그냥 잘라냈어요. Like you cut it out of your life. So do you have something like that? So excuse me while I turn my back to you guys. I got to turn to look at some of your responses. So let's see. We have a message from, I think that Benny was mentioning something. So, okay, Benny says, I think of cutting down drinking soda these days, and at times we only drink on weekends. Oh, so that's a good thing because, yes, the whole soda bit, I know that there's lots of, in Korea, we have lots of diet sodas these days, right? The Jero is very popular. But anyhow, that's what we're looking at in terms of the messages. I will definitely read more, but I have to get to Kat's pick for right now. So here it is. For Kat's Pick today, I wanted to focus on a story that I saw and the images. I wish I had the ability to throw up the images, but I obviously don't. It's regarding this female student who stripped down to her underwear in Iran. Yes, I said it correctly, Iran. So let's get the clip from BBC.
The authorities in Iran have arrested a female student after she staged a solo protest against harassment by stripping to her underwear outside her university. The woman, who's not been identified, had been harassed, apparently, inside the prestigious Tehran Azad University of Science and Research by members of the Basij militia, who's, it's reported, ripped her headscarf and clothes. She then took off her clothes in protest and sat outside the university dressed in her underwear before defiantly walking in the street. Now, under the dress code, of course, mandatory in Iran, women must wear a headscarf in public and loose-fitting clothes that cover all bodily contours. Her fate at this stage, unknown. Looking at these images, obviously a very, very courageous thing for this woman to do.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very brave act on her part. But the thing is that before this event took place, as you said, she has been assaulted by a Basiji agent. So the Basijis are a militia that is founded by the regime. And we have received numerous complaints for the past weeks, months, about assaults taking place in universities. And it is also based in a place and in a country where men have more rights than women. So whether their clothing is correct or not, these Basijis think that they're allowed to do anything they want, and especially against women. So we cannot know for sure how her dressing was that day, but the thing that we know is that these Basijis are going to abuse their rights and are going to assault them.
And presumably now she's going to be punished for something which you could well argue was nothing to do with her in the first place.
Yeah, of course. The risk for her now, so the first reports we received indicated a violent arrest and with possible head trauma with blood on the site. And she has been taken to a psychiatric institution, and that's what the regime does every time someone does something like that in Iran. They want to have this narrative again around the fact that any woman without a scarf or any...
So I misspoke. Actually, that clip was from DW, not the BBC. So this story it's on all the major outlets, and what has happened to her is the big question. We don't know her name. We know what we have. The footage and the photos that show what she did, but we don't know what happened exactly prior or after. So many people are worried about the welfare of this seemingly Iranian woman. And this was Cat's Pick for today.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
All right, everybody, it's now time for Sports Insider. So we have, oh my gosh, you're wearing black and white.
No,
It's the uniform?
This jacket is not
gray.
black.
It's gray.
But my T-shirt is black.
Right. But it looks great. It looks black on camera.
It's like a blackish, bluish gray. I don't
It's
know.
lovely. On camera, it looks black. So
Yeah, it does actually.
yeah.
I don't know. We're doing the trick.
And the thing is, people are like, is this like a uniform today? No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
We don't tell Andrew, like, it's black
No.
and white and stripes today. We don't do that to you.
Yeah, and I actually was, if I would have was able to get up a little bit earlier, I was probably going to look a little better than this.
No, you look fine. You look very sporty.
I was going to be wearing like a collared shirt like you have on and a black sweater pullover.
Yeah.
Not a cardigan. Pullover. It's a cardigan. Sorry. No. For our listeners. That's for you.
Yes,
Anyway.
yes. So, how are you?
Good. Very good. This is, for our listeners, obviously they can see that you have a different spot today. And
Yes.
I'm in a different spot. It's like...
Musical chairs.
It's like I'm at a huge banquet table and you're at the other end and I'm trying to talk to you.
I know. Don't you feel like you're the CEO?
Yeah, of a company I don't want to be part of. I don't know.
Hey, text topic. Is there
Yes.
anything that you have quit or cut out of your life?
Negativity would be one thing.
Okay.
I don't know if that I would say it, but I would say probably going back maybe 6 or 7 years ago, there was definitely individuals in my life that I you have friends that you try to hang on to. You realize you're the one making
All the effort.
yeah, or like you're always the one sending a text message and things like that. And I definitely still have friends like that today who I love. Don't get me wrong, but it's I'm the always the send a message person. But I found that there were just people that every time we hung out, it was just I would call them they were just the downer. You know what I mean? And I just I kind of cut those people out of my life. And other than that,
Yeah.
I would say sweet coffee.
Oh, you cut out sweet coffee.
Yeah, there's probably it was just before COVID, I want to say, and I used to drink mochas like they were like water, which they were not as not good
Whoa.
for me. Yeah, so that I cut that out as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, because not good for you not to have it
Yeah,
all the time.
exactly.
All right, we're going to dive into some sports. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, so the LA Dodgers celebrate a long-awaited World Series victory. Yeah, hats off to you. I do have to.
Oh, I
clap
wish I
that
had
one in.
like a sound,
Yeah,
like applause. I hear it in my head. It's okay.
Right. They had an amazing parade. This is something
Yes.
I always enjoy about championship events around the world, really. But this one went down through downtown Los Angeles, on Friday, making it their first. I love how people have said their first celebration in 3 years. It's like, oh come on, there's places who've never had a celebration,
Right.
But they say that there was probably around. Almost a 250,000 people showed up for this event. And then it all went into Dodger Stadium where superstar Shohei Ohtani stole the show. Not just him, but his dog Decoy, dressed
so
in
cute.
it was really, really cute, dressed in a Dodgers jersey, had on the credentials pin that would allow them into the event. It was really, really cute. But the one thing that I'm sure a lot of fans were surprised about, the whole 42,000 that were inside Dodger Stadium, was his gratitude. And we're going to get to this clip of him speaking English, something we don't usually hear.
Okay.
This is so special moment for me. And then I'm so honored to be here and to be part of this team. Congratulations, Los Angeles. Thank you, fans.
Love it.
Yeah, it was, obviously it's something we don't hear. There was the whole controversy earlier in the year with his interpreter and everything that went down with that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was nice to hear also that you could see some of his teammates were kind of laughing. They weren't laughing at him and his English ability. No. Obviously, he's fine. But it was that, he doesn't speak that often to the media or to the crowd.
That's the first time I've heard him.
Yeah, me as well.
Speak, in English. So, yeah.
So pretty happy. You're pretty happy with this?
Just
the
a
World
little.
Series victory?
It's like last week I did the celebrating and I was like, I still have it. The Dodger blue.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, the pen from last week.
I would have to say I'm not someone who would usually cheer for the LA Dodgers, but when they're up against the Yankees, being a Red Sox fan, go Dodgers.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Vasana. Yeah. And sorry, whomever. All the people
any
that were...
Red Sox fans going to say that. So, yeah, moving on. Moving on here, we're going to talk about Manchester United. Now, last week I brought the news about Eric Ten Hag being sacked. And there was a lot of speculation who the next manager would be for about a day. And then it was short. Yeah, it was short. We knew who it was going to be very, very quickly. And it's Ruben Amorim, who is leaving Sporting Lisbon. So this year, it was kind of like a lot of people were wondering, well, why didn't this happen in the summer? Why didn't this happen earlier? Why did they wait until they were in the 14th place to do this? And a lot of people were like, we're not really sure. Right. But they also, so United ends up paying his release fee, which is around 11 million euros.
Sure.
But then there's also an issue because Sporting is traded openly on the stock exchange in Portugal. So they had to wait until Sporting officially makes an announcement, and then because of tax reasons and things like this, and everything has to be public,
logistics,
so kind of delayed things a little bit. But it looks like he will finally take over. It won't be until November 11th.
Okay,
and that'll be just before the international break. So Ruud van Nistelrooy will be in charge until then, and he's not doing too bad right now.
He's doing better than.
Yeah.
His
so maybe
predecessor.
not the manager or not the players. It was
Right.
definitely the manager, maybe.
Maybe. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like, it's weird seeing Man U in 14th place.
Yeah, but again, just like I made that Red Sox Yankees comment, as
Yes.
a Liverpool fan, I'm not opposed to it. It's
I'm not either.
it's great. Yeah. So
Right.
we got some other soccer news
Yes.
or football news to talk about. There's something I want to talk about. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Tottenham Hotspur staged a remarkable second half turnaround to secure a convincing 4-1 victory over Aston Villa. Now, I know you canceled your subscription, got it back, canceled again, got it back. I don't know. Do you still have it at this point to watch sports?
No.
Did you watch this game?
No. I went to bed. It was too late.
It
'Cause
was.
I had to go
It was a
to
bit
work,
late.
Right.
Yeah, so it was, I watched a good part of this game. And I thought, after they went down 1-0, I went, oh, gosh.
Here we go
again. But I couldn't have been any more wrong than that. So after halftime, Brendan Johnson leveled the score from Son Heung-min, and then Son Heung-min was taken off. And there's a lot, we're going to talk about this controversy, if you want to call it, in a moment.
Is it? Yeah.
And then Dominic Solanke got 2 goals, and then before James Maddison finished things off with an unreal free kick, bringing it to a 4-1 victory for Spurs.
So let's get to that controversy, though.
Yeah, so Son was taken off.
He wasn't happy.
It was around the 60th minute. They just scored. You got to think you're going to take your captain, essentially your best player, off after you just score.
But that was just the equalizer. I think people, it was 1-1.
It was 1-1.
But they weren't up.
No, but they were flying at that point.
Yes.
And they took him off, and on the bench, he was visibly
Upset.
angry about this.
Yes.
But Hens Postecoglou downplayed it real quick. He said, I didn't see anything different in his demeanor, his manners, nothing like that.
Well, his back was to us.
Exactly.
I mean, because someone was sitting behind him with all making the petulant faces.
Exactly. All his manager had to do is play the card like, I didn't see the replay.
Right.
Like they usually say.
Yes.
But he also said that he knew that he wasn't going to play any more than that.
That was a plan.
He was going to come off at that point in time. And I think that players have to respect that, because if he would have left him out there and he would have got injured or he would have re-injured himself, then everyone would have been like, this stupid manager, you're an idiot. What are you doing? Right. So, of course, no player wants to come off when they're flying like that. But
and also, I have to say, I mean, he isn't the only player that I've seen being a little petulant or a little pouty coming off the field. And I think that goes to show you that, they want to be out there. All the players.
They don't want to come off.
Not
Never.
just Son, but all the players. They just want to be out on the field, running amok.
Unless they tell the manager, I want to come off, they don't want to come off.
They don't want to come off. No. So I just feel like, let's not blow it out of proportion. Yes, he was being petulant.
Yeah.
I agree. Yes.
I think it may have been different if they didn't win.
Right.
We'd be looking at this a little bit differently.
Completely differently.
Yeah.
But, they won 4-1.
Exactly.
He got, and that assist was amazing. I mean, it was a good cross,
It was
right?
beautiful.
Yes.
Now, in other news, it was pretty crazy the rest of the weekend for soccer. First, Arsenal losing to Newcastle 1-0, which I watched this game and I was like, what's going on? This is a bit ridiculous. But then as I'm watching the Liverpool game, I have like a split screen of the Manchester City game on, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. They go down 2-0 to Bournemouth and then come back and score a late goal from Vardiol to make it 2-1. And I'm thinking, all right, City's just going to tie this up. Holland will score a goal in extra time. It'll be 3-2. No, they lose to Bournemouth. But at this time, Liverpool was down to Brighton.
Yes.
But they were able to come back. A Mo Salah screamer.
Nice.
All right.
I saw the clip of that.
2-1 win. Liverpool at the top of the table, 2 points ahead of City. All is well in the world. And the Reds can march on, as they would say. But the big surprise here is Nottingham Forest. I have to give a big shout out to my buddy James and his team up there in third place ahead of Arsenal and Chelsea. Most Forest fans are realistic and realizing we're not going to be there long, but we're going to enjoy it while we can.
Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah.
So we're going to call it a wrap for all the sports. We've got everything in, and we'll definitely check in with you next weekend. Let's try not to match, okay?
Yeah. And this distance away either.
Yeah.
We're lacking the chemistry.
Yeah. Next week. All right. Thank you, Andrew.
Bye-bye.
That was Andrew with sports. And okay, no, that's not the right one. That's the one. Okay, so it's time for a final song for our number one. So all Cats' choices. Lose Control by Teddy Swims.
Something's got a hold on me lately. No, I don't know myself anymore. Feels like the walls are all closing in, and the devil's knocking at my door. Whoa, out of my mind. How many times did I tell you I'm no good at being alone? Yeah, it's taking a toll on me. Trying my best to keep from tearing the skin off my bones. Don't you know I'm lose control when you're not next to me? I'm falling apart right in front of you. Can't you see? I lose control when you're not next to me. Yeah, you're breaking my heart, baby. You make a mess of me. Problematic. Problem is I want your body like a fiend, like a bad habit. Bad habits hard to break when I'm with you. Yeah, I know I could do it on my own, but I want that real full moon, black magic, and it takes two. Problematic. Problem is when I'm with you, I'm an addict, and I need some relief. My skin and your teeth can't see the forest through the trees. Got me down on my knees, darling, please. Oh, I lose control when you're not next to me.
Your Bridge to the World. BeFM, 부산영어방송.
부산의 축제 어디까지 즐겨보셨나요? 과거와 현재, 미래가 공존하는 항구도시 부산. 이곳 부산은 계절을 물들이는 다양한 축제로 늘 풍성합니다. 봄의 시작을 알리는 봄꽃 축제부터 부산의 여름을 만끽하는 바다축제, 전 세계 영화인들이 모이는 부산국제영화제와 새로운 시작의 해맞이 축제까지. 부산의 축제는 우리의 열정을 가득 담고 있습니다. 바쁜 일상은 잠시 뒤로하고 특별한 시간을 선물 받는 바로 이곳 부산에서 우리의 삶은 축제가 됩니다. 축제로 하나 되는 부산, 여러분은 어떤 축제를 기다리시나요? 이 캠페인은 대선공익재단과 BeFM 부산영어방송이 함께합니다.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
The weather is so nice today. I'm sure this won't be a big deal.
A 3-second long lapse in judgment can burn up an entire mountain, which will take 100 years to recover. We can protect these lush forests if you follow these guidelines. First, do not bring flammable materials to the mountains. Second, do not cook or camp in the mountains. Third, do not litter cigarette butts. Your small actions are the first step towards protecting the beautiful forest. This campaign is brought to you by BeFM, 부산영어방송.
Want to be a friend of BeFM, 부산영어방송? You can chat with BeFM through our Kakao Talk service. You can share your messages and photos through Kakao Talk, and you can easily become BeFM's Kakao friend by searching BeFM through the Find a Friend option. Come share and chat with us at BeFM anytime, anywhere for free. Don't forget to add BeFM 부산영어방송 to your Kakao friends list.
Man, I haven't got a chance. I call him.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Good morning, Dynamic Busan.
Yeah, you're waking up. Time to shake it up. Tell the world good morning and find out what's going on.
Well, hi there, folks. There's everything from comedy to lively chat to music.
Broadcasting from a room about the size of your closet.
All calls are recorded. What show is this?
Live from Korea's dynamic city, this is Morning Wave in Busan.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
It is now 8 o'clock and this is news highlights. Yoon calls for bipartisan cooperation will address the public on Thursday. President Yoon Suk-yeol called for the parliamentary parties' cooperation to pass the government's 677.4 trillion won budget before the deadline to prioritize the people's economic well-being in a speech read by Prime Minister Han Duck-soo. Yoon also pledged to bolster security and defense amid growing security concerns posed by North Korea's troop deployment to Russia, while expanding support for North Korean defectors. The speech marked the first time in 11 years that a sitting president has opted not to deliver the budget speech in person. Yoon, in the meantime, will address the public Thursday to mark the midpoint of his 5-year term. PPP leader urges Yoon to issue public apology. Ruling party leader Han Dong-un called yesterday on President Yoon to issue a public apology and reshuffle aides at the presidential office to address the growing concerns over allegations surrounding the First Lady. The remarks came during a meeting of the ruling party's Supreme Council, where he also called for a complete personnel overhaul of presidential aides. Han also urged the First Lady to refrain from public activities and reiterated his calls for Yoon's appointment of a special inspector to look into possible corruption among the president's family members. DP leader agrees on scrapping financial investment income tax. Main opposition Democratic Party or DP leader Lee Jae-myung said yesterday he has agreed on a push by the ruling party and government to abolish the planned financial investment income tax. He told the DP Supreme Council that the current stock market is a very challenging place, adding that the party has agreed on the government and the ruling party's push to scrap the tax. PPP leadership welcomed this move and said that the party will immediately begin negotiations to pass a related bill during a parliamentary plenary session this month. Putin meets North Korean Foreign Minister Choi Sun-hee. Russian President Vladimir Putin has met North Korean Foreign Minister Choi Sun-hee at the Kremlin in Moscow, where Choi delivered greetings from Kim Jong-un and Putin welcomed Choi as a friend. This comes as reports say the first batch of North Korean troops dispatched to Russia's border area has likely already come under Ukrainian attack in the Kursk region. The report came as the United States State Department said that as many as 10,000 North Korean troops are in Kursk and could engage in combat in the coming days. Trump and Harris make last push in final day of campaign. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are in battleground states, with Harris holding 5 events in Pennsylvania and Trump going to North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and ending the day in Michigan. Trump has said he will impose a 25% tariff on Mexico on day one of his presidency if the country doesn't stop the onslaught of criminals and drugs into the U.S. Meanwhile, election officials have heightened security in anticipation of potential violence. State election officials have pleaded with candidates to accept the results, although they likely won't be announced for several days in some states. And this was News Highlights. It's now time for us to check in with Haley for issue Wagay Wagay.
Hello. By the way, I was crouching down to not be on your finally because I've got the cameras figured out after a year. My knees just made a popping sound because I was
that you? I heard
me.
Something and I was like, did she step on something? That was your popping knee?
That was my joints. So this is exciting.
Okay. Well, we don't want it to injure your joints because you're a runner. So, all right. Here's hoping you're okay. Let's jump into our first story. Smartphone usage among students, it has become a problem. But should we go as far as banning phones in schools is a question.
I mean, smartphone usage amongst adults is also a problem. But are we going to ban them from the workplace? But at least in schools, this may actually happen sooner than you might think.
Okay.
So recently what happened is the National Human Rights Commission, the 인권위, they ruled that schools gathering phones at the beginning of the school day or classes for all of their students, that is not a violation of human rights. Because if you're doing it to everyone, it's okay.
It's equal.
It's equal, exactly. Now, a bill has been introduced on the parliament level restricting smartphone usage in schools. So this bill was introduced by the People Power Party lawmaker Cho Sung-hoon of the Education Committee. And he introduced a bill that says smartphone addiction is a social problem. And this is to protect the mental health of students. And of course, we have a lot of data this is an area where we're starting to get a lot of data. But for example, the U.S. U.S. Surgeon General, who's basically the national doctor, has said smartphones and social media especially should come with warning labels. So the revision to the law, going back to the bill, it says that students may not use smart devices in schools except for educational purposes or when they have permission from the school principal and or teachers.
Okay.
For example, in case of emergencies. The Education Ministry is also on board with this, agreeing to on the need for the bill. And it comes as, interestingly enough, next year, AI digital textbooks will be given out to students across the entire country.
Yes.
So you might be saying, and that is a whole another Wagner issue. I believe a Scandinavian country, I'm not going to name one because I'm not certain.
I believe it's Finland. They're going back
I believe
to
so.
books.
And Canada, I also believe, and parts of Canada at least, they had digital textbooks and then noticed students were kind of regressing. So they brought it back. We will have to see. But at least for the Education Ministry's part, they're saying, well, they're going to be exposed to digital devices in official capacity. So taking away smartphones for personal usage, at least during school time, would be a good balance to prevent overusage. But of course, as always, there are voices of concern.
Sure.
I mean, everyone does agree on principle that we all, as humanity, should use smartphones less. However, some do say that students' voices and input should be factored into this decision, not just a single unilateral kind of top-down law.
But I do remember back when I was in school, it wasn't smartphone. We were not of that generation.
No.
But schools did ban our phones. Like if they found that your phone was on,
it was much bigger deal.
It was
My
confiscated.
phone vibrated.
Yes,
my mom called me on. She dialed me, and I was like, "Mom," and it was like a huge deal because there was a zzz in the middle of class, and the teacher was like, "Who was that?"
Right.
Yeah.
Or even like way back, some of you maybe of like the pager generation, and if your pager went off in class, you would get in trouble too.
You would get a detention.
Right,
Yeah.
and they would confiscate your pager too. But I'm just saying. So I don't know.
The culture is definitely changing.
It is.
Yeah.
I understand that we need to respect students' rights, but also,
don't have your phone during class.
Don't we need to learn?
Right. By the way, I did when I went to a middle school in Korea for one of those like English standardized tests that I for some reason took. There was a huge hole that a student had carved out in the middle of that wooden desk, and apparently that's like their smartphone peephole. So
Are you serious?
apparently this happens among generations of students, and they'll just carve away. It's like a jailbreak.
It's like Shawshank, like slowly whittling away. Okay. Next issue. We often see celebrities on public service announcement trying to get people to, for example, quit smoking or never start.
Right.
But is there potentially a move of celebrities glamorizing smoking all over again? That's the question.
There might be, and this does go into our text topic of what are you trying to quit?
Yes.
And then, if you are a smoker, does seeing smoking on films or just on the
media.
Does
it trigger you? I don't know.
I don't know. Well,
I'm not a smoker.
I'm not a smoker, but I love eating, and seeing someone eat something, definitely I'm like, ooh, I want that.
Oh,
exactly.
Okay. So is it like that?
I don't know. Let's ask our smokers
out there. And we're not judging.
We're not.
Or maybe you used to smoke.
Right.
Do you get triggered? Like if you see someone with a cigarette or if they're smoking, does that make you want to smoke? Maybe.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this is why there are, for example, the Korea Communication Standards Commission, they do have guidelines on what times or what time of day or what kind of program smoking can be seen. Most programs, we do see if there's a cigarette, even like a movie that is on TV, they'll have the cigarette blurred out.
Yeah, it's like pixelated.
Yeah, it's pixelated, and you're like, what is that?
What is that? And then you're looking at it more, I'm like,
oh,
it's not a knife, it's a cigarette.
Exactly. Knives and cigarettes are blurred out. There aren't that many guns in Korean films. But we are seeing, at least in the US and UK, Hollywood and whatnot, we're seeing more and more smoking on screen. For example, Charlie XCX, Addison Rae, Lady Gaga, a handful of stars that have recently featured smoking or cigarettes on in their latest works.
Yes.
And cigarettes, interestingly, during New York Fashion Week earlier this year, they used as accessories on the runways. So is it literally fashionable? It's not. But I mean, is that the statement the industry's making?
I don't know, because I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that many of the models they smoke to stay slim.
But that was the thing with the whole Kate Moss generation.
Yeah, back in the day. So I don't know.
Yeah, the 90s.
I don't know what they're trying to say.
And so, I mean, back in the 90s, they did glamorize smoking through those supermodels saying that they smoke to stay thin. Well, now there's a new term of glamorous smokers, sigfluencer. And I died a little bit.
Sig meaning
cigarette.
C-I-G, not sick.
No, not sig. Sig, like cigarette plus
sigfluencer. That's a word?
That's a word. There are social media accounts with snaps of hundreds of celebrities smoking in real life. And that's not to shame them. It's to kind of look at how cool. Which, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, but according to Truth Initiative, which is a nonprofit health organization that's against smoking, 9 out of 10 films nominated for the Oscars top prize earlier in the year featured smoking. And that's from 7 the previous year. So at least if we're looking at that snippet, cigarettes are making more and more of an appearance. And here's the thing. This is why it's problematic. It's not only glamorizing, but normalizing smoking, which has, and we're not here to shame smokers, but everyone knows smoking is bad for you. It has significant cancer risks. Smoking increases the risk of serious diseases like lung cancer, and lung cancer has a 90% 5-year mortality rate.
Right. And so we have a comment. Tommy, who says, I quit smoking, but recently I feel the need to smoke again. And he wrote this before we even got into the segment. And then he has a follow-up saying, nope, lots of smokers don't like other smokers' smell.
That's interesting.
Oh. And then 성 이름. Right. That's right. It feels worse, the smell, than before quitting smoking.
Oh, really?
Interesting. Okay, so now we have at least a couple people's opinions on that.
Okay.
So next up, let's talk about this. A woman died by falling while she was airing out a blanket, like
shaking
it out.
Right. So, I mean, in these stories, this isn't the only time it's happened, which is terrifying. But this particular time, it happened over the weekend in Jeonnam, in Gwangyang specifically. The local 119 authorities received a report that a woman fell from her apartment. And she was found in a state of cardiac arrest on the ground, taken to the hospital, but didn't make it. So the police say that she was likely airing and shaking out a heavy blanket over the window. But the weight of the moving blanket likely brought her down over that railing.
Sure.
Unfortunately, this happens more frequently than we would like to believe. Even last May, there was a case in Seoul where a man in his 40s fell to his death for the same reason. So definitely, I mean, this is kind of that season where you take out the winter blankets because it's certainly going to get colder, especially starting tomorrow. But, if you are going to air them, just do it very gently or just hang it, like let it air dry or hang it. Do know that this can happen.
This is really, really tragic.
And I do want to point out that the first man was a man in his 40s, presumably, in good health if he believed that he could do it. So,
right.
And, just biologically, male average weight is heavier than a female. So, and it could happen to anyone.
Anyone.
Yes.
All right. Lastly, there is this literal exhibition of bad parking. What is this?
We've had snippets on our segment, but there is an actual 전시회 of horrible parking.
Okay.
And it was locally, Busan district.
Okay.
Right. So they had their 2024 illegal parking photo exhibition. These are all submissions made to the district office by its residents or during their parking crackdowns. For one, there is an SUV that was parked smack in the middle of a busy intersection. So it's a 교차로 한가운데.
Oh gosh.
This was taken several years ago, but classics, they do make a comeback. And the car's owner apparently even locked the car, so no one could move it. No one could even put it in neutral and push it out.
Okay.
Multiple cases of illegal parking blocking the road, even preventing a fire truck from entering said street. Thankfully, that particular time was a drill, so it was not an actual emergency. But apparently that drill was prompted by a real case where a fire truck was delayed from going to a scene because of, again, illegal parking.
Sure.
By the way, fire trucks, yes, they can scratch the vehicle and pass by if needed be. But firefighters, they are under realistic pressure as to, can we do that without facing ramifications? Because they get the, God forbidden, 민원, the public complaint.
Yes.
And by the way, there was also a case where in my apartment personally that I've seen, at the entrance of an apartment, there's a sidewalk part that juts out.
Yes.
A car just flat out parked there.
Just straight up.
And he or she did it so naturally. I was like, is that a spot? No, it's not. Oh, he's on the sidewalk. He or she is on the sidewalk. By the way, illegal parking can lead to a 40,000 won fines, 4만 won for passenger vehicles, 50,000 won for vans. And by the way, it is a triple in school zones between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Also, district office and authorities say that illegal parking can block both the line of sight for drivers and passengers and can be very, very dangerous. So a better sense of public awareness is definitely necessary.
My personal opinion.
Oh, let's hear it.
Up the fine.
Well, that too. Yeah.
I'm just saying, because we shouldn't be doing it in the first place.
Right.
But if you make it heavy enough, we're like, oh, it's going to hurt, then people, I think, will stop doing it.
I think
That's
so too.
just my humble opinion once again. But anyhow, thank you for going over all the hot issues, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great day.
All right, that was Haley once again. And now it is time for your traffic and weather update. Wavers, it's time for your traffic update. It is now 8:18 and here we go. Traffic is detected on Chungnyeoldaero from Dongnae intersection to Naesung intersection. It's also looking slow on Beonyeonglo from the Wondong ramp to Suyong tunnel. And it's backed up on the Dongso overpass from Gamjeon ramp to the old Kaegum toll gate. Currently, it's 15 degrees Celsius under clear skies, and the daytime high is expected to go up to 20 degrees today. Elsewhere across the country, it's looking much colder. Some central regions are seeing a big drop in the morning low with rain forecast for parts of Gangwon and Gyeongbuk. And you might see some snow in the mountainous areas of Gangwon. And this was your traffic and weather. And this is Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter.
Now he's thinking about me every night. Oh, is it that sweet? I guess so. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know that's that me espresso. Move it up, down, left, right, oh, switch it up like Nintendo. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know that's that me espresso. I can't relate to desperation. Like on vacation, and I got this one boy, and he won't stop calling when they act this way. I know I got him. Too bad your ex don't do it for you. Walked in, a dream came true for you. Soft skin and not perfume for you. Yes, I know I'm not into it for you. That morning coffee brewed for you. One touch and I'm brand new for you. Now he's thinking about me every night. Oh, is it that sweet? I guess so. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know that's that me espresso. Move it up, down, left, right, oh, switch it up like Nintendo. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know that's that me espresso. Is it that sweet? I guess so. I'm working late, 'cause I'm a singer. Oh, we look so cute, wrapped around my finger. My twisted humor, make him laugh so often. My honey bee, come and get this pollen. Too bad your ex don't do it for you. Walked in and dream came true for you. Soft skin and not perfume for you. I know I'm not into it for you. That morning coffee brewed for you. One touch and I'm brand new for you. Now he's thinking about me every night. Oh, is it that sweet? I guess so. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know that's that me espresso. Move it up, down, left, right, oh, switch it up like Nintendo. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know that's that me espresso. Thinking about me every night. Oh, is it that sweet? I guess so. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know that's that me espresso. Move it up, down, left, right, oh, switch it up like Nintendo. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know that's that me espresso. Is it that sweet? I guess so. That's that me espresso.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Let's go over a text topic one last time before we get into our special interview. So I asked you today if you have any habits that you have kind of cut out or things that you have quit. So, or maybe you're looking to quit. Looking at some of your responses, we have Umberto who says, I have reduced a habit of putting money in the savings and increasing the payments of my mortgage to the principal, expecting to pay in full in the next 5 years or less. You're going to pay off your mortgage in 5 years or less? Are you bragging? Well, if you are, you have every right to. That's actually really commendable. That's a great habit to have. So I'm jealous. Yeah, you're going to be mortgage free in a little bit, right? And so in terms of other habits that I've been seeing, I see smoking. I think that is the most common one that people have kind of cut out of their lives. So if that's the case, that's definitely a good thing. And I see soda. That's another common one as well. So we're going to leave the comments there for now because our professor is waiting for us. And we're going to get to our special interview. And I'll be back in just a moment. All right, listeners, it is now time for our special interview as we are counting down basically now the hours until the U.S. presidential election. Well, people here in South Korea and I'm sure all around the world were really eagerly watching closely to understand how the next administration's diplomacy and security policies might impact the region. And so with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump presenting distinctly different approaches to issues like defense costs and North Korea, the outcome really does hold significant implications for South Korea. So we have invited to the airwaves our resident expert, Professor Kim Byung-ju, former diplomat and affiliate professor at Hankuk University of Foreign Studies. So let's say hi to him right now. Hi, welcome, Professor.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
No, the pleasure is all ours as usual. But, Professor, how do you think that the U.S. approach to North Korea might differ under, let's say, first Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump?
What Kamala Harris in the White House, we don't expect a major change or shift of the policy altogether as compared to what we've seen for the last 4 years under Biden. Demanding North Korea for denuclearization, coming to the table of negotiation or discussion dialogue without any preconditions, and always open for dialogue as long as they're ready and so on. The only thing is there have been some criticism that Biden administration, because of other priorities around the world, as we know, in Ukraine, in Gaza, and elsewhere, we sensed the tendency of Biden administration kind of like setting North Korea issue a little bit aside and having really pursued any proactive engagement with North Korea or proactive stance towards resolving this situation in the Korean Peninsula. So with that criticism in mind, there is a chance that Harris administration may actually pursue more proactive engagement or dialogue or interaction with Pyongyang once she comes into the office. So overall, same direction, but expectation for some kind of relative adjustment overall. That's what we can say.
And then with Donald Trump, he has already made comments that might kind of point to where we might be headed if he comes into office again.
In terms of Trump's policy towards North Korea.
Yes.
Well, I don't think he has really kind of articulated where he's going. All we know is he boasted about his relationship with Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-un's what he called love letters to him, emphasizing the fact that he's the one who can talk to Kim Jong-un, in fact. But the thing is, at the same time, we are very mindful of the fact that Trump is the one who turned the table, turn around like upside down, just close the door or shut down the dialogue with Kim Jong-un in Hanoi when Trump found out that North Korea was not fully really committed to the cause of full denuclearization. So Trump has learned his lesson. He over his 4 years of being in his office, and so I believe Trump has his own principles and his own lessons based on his dealing with Kim Jong-un in Singapore and Hanoi and the times in between.
Yes.
So therefore, I would expect that Trump is not going to come to his office without any principles, without any vision. He may have his own set image of Kim Jong-un and the principles in terms of how he should deal with him overall. But at the same time, the confidence that he's the one who has channeled with Kim Jong-un, and he's the one actually Kim Jong-un is really willing to talk to as well. So those are pluses and minuses.
And do you think that whether we have Harris or Trump in the White House, that this is going to vastly affect the security situation here in South Korea, the relationship between the Republic of Korea and the U.S.?
Yes and no. Immediate terms, I don't see much fundamental shift. There's no question that United States is going to remain as a country that defends South Korea and have troops here and defense capabilities that covers this country entirely and so on. So I don't expect any dramatic change in terms of Korea's level of national security, how we should feel about overall. However, though, if Trump comes in with this attitude that we have sensed last time when he was in the office, his usual line, right? We are going to focus on making America great again. So focus on your own, making your country, defended or strong, whatever. It's up to you. Do your own thing about your country. So for that, we may sense, for instance, the critical element, U.S. nuclear extended deterrence. That is, United States nuclear capability defending Korea as if it's our own nuclear capability. That kind of commitment, we may sense certain kind of like changes or relative lack of commitment as compared to what we've seen with the Democratic government in the White House. So in that sense, Trump in saying, defend your own country, basically. That could actually add support to those increasing number of Koreans. I think now we have passed half of the majority here in Korea who believe South Korea should ultimately possess its own nuclear weapons in order to defend itself. And some people call it ultimate solution. That's the ultimate way of resolving this situation with North Korea having nuclear weapons that can destroy this country completely, but South Korea does not have its own capability and rely on the will of the United States to defend this country. And so for those people who support the cause have been saying this is the ultimate solution. And maybe for them, they may be happy to see the Trump administration may open the door and window further towards the direction of allowing South Korea to own and possess its own nuclear weapons.
So what about the whole cost-sharing agreement, the defense cost-sharing agreement? So recently there was a signing between Korea and the United States for the SMA, I believe it's called. But what about if Trump comes into office? I think that's what many Koreans are kind of worried about, the fact that the defense cost sharing, that agreement, the cost of that might actually go up significantly if Trump were to come into office. So is that, do you think, an issue?
Yes, it is. It will be the one of the most outstanding issues on the table as soon as it comes in, because like as you mentioned, SMA, Special Measures Agreement was renegotiated recently with Biden government in order to do our best on the side of South Korea to do its own best, to firm up the system in terms of how we're paying for U.S. troops here. There was best possible effort to be made, but it's not a perfect one. And actually, most of the analysts are expecting that this SMA to be revised again when Trump comes in, and he wrote a book, Several Decades of Art of Deal. He calls himself as a deal maker, negotiator, and all that kind of stuff. So he will probably, one of the first things he could call for is revision of the SMA that has been recently renegotiated and signed. And so this is interesting because when he was in the office last time, Donald Trump asked for 5 times increase of what South Korea pays to have U.S. troops stationed in South Korea. A lot of people, it astonished a lot of people, including actually his own defense secretary at that time, Mark Esper. Mark Esper confessed after the Trump administration ended that he had no idea where Trump was coming from when he was asking for 5 times increase.
Yes.
Because current system, even with under the revised SMA agreement or before that, roughly speaking, South Korea is paying for about half of all the cost that's necessary in terms of for the United States to station their troops in South Korea. So already we're paying half, but if you are asked to pay 5 times more, that's like the United States is going to make a huge profit out of U.S. troop stationing in South Korea. So that's like a mercenary. You're making money out of having your people stationed in foreign countries. So Mark Esper himself thought that's not justified at all. But the Trump has boasted about that. He said, to his crowd in his campaign trails and said, yes, I asked for a dramatic increase of South Korea's payment for stationing our troops in South Korea and stuff like that. So it's going to be it has remained his main selling point about making money out of whatever the U.S. government does. And so there's a strong possibility that he's going to push for this once again. So that's going to be a huge case. And in that case, some of the people who've been talking about what we call the ultimate solution earlier say, oh, this is a good chance.
Yes.
Let's go to the table and, with the deal maker, Donald Trump, let's say give and take. We will give you this much, and then we need have something to take back. And there will be certain steps towards opening gates for allowing South Korea to develop and own its own nuclear weapons for the ultimate solution.
Right. And for our final question to you then, Professor, is this, because obviously, in a few hours or several hours, the U.S., the voters, aside from the early voters, are going to go out to the polls and vote. But whether we have Harris or Trump, do you think that it's going to really affect the diplomacy angle? Like, for example, Harris indicated a commitment to multilateral diplomacy. And do you think that this will affect how things are conducted with the South Korea-U.S. cooperation, whether it's global security challenges or even things like cyber threats or climate change? How do you think this is going to play out?
There's no question that South Korea has to continue to go multilateral in terms of its focus of diplomacy, because if we focus on just bilateral, like let's say Washington and Seoul ties, we know one day it will be Biden in the White House, and then another day it could be Trump back again.
True.
And all this, half of the Americans who are supporting Donald Trump will continue to, support other candidates who make similar arguments like Donald Trump in the future. So we have only half of the United States that's reliable for the interest of South Korea, you can say with some exaggeration here. So therefore, bilateralism as a principle of U.S. Korea foreign policy is weak. And Yoon government, with the support of Biden government itself, have been pursuing trilateralism and multilateralism, working with countries in addition to the United States, like Japan, like other countries in the Pacific, and even European countries, even NATO members, opening dialogue and so on. So it will be necessary to continue to go on that way. And if Harris takes over White House, it will be the same direction that Biden government has been pushing Seoul to pursue, which is working closely with its key allies in addition to the United States, Japan, and other countries.
Yes.
So same kind of direction. And if Trump takes over, there will be further need to pursue this, working even more closely, working with European allies and Japan and other countries as well. So I would not say that the choice of the American people for their new president will fundamentally alter the direction of Korea's foreign policy, because Korea's foreign policy for the past several years has been set towards the direction of pursuing multilateralism rather than bilateralism.
Thank you so much for providing insight into the diplomacy and security policy angle of the ramifications of the upcoming U.S. presidential election. Thank you so much for joining us today, Professor.
Thank you, as always.
All right, everybody. This was Professor Kim Byung-ju once again, and it was a pleasure to have him on and share with us his expertise with his experience as a former diplomat, and of course, thoroughly looking into all the facets of diplomacy and security policy. All right, we are due for a song break, so we're going to take a little breather, and this is All of Me by John Legend.
What would I do without your smart mouth? Drawing me in and you kicking me out. If got my head spinning. No kidding, I can't pin you down. What's going on in that beautiful mind? I'm on your magical mystery ride, and I'm so dizzy, don't know what hit me, but I'll be alright. My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I'm out of my mind, 'cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I'll give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning, 'cause I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. Oh, how many times do I have to tell you? Even when you're crying, you're beautiful too. The world is beating you down. I'm around through every mood. You're my downfall, you're my muse, my worst distraction, my rhythm and blues. I can't stop singing, it's ringing in my head for you. My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I'm out of my mind, 'cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I'll give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning, 'cause I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. Oh, give me all of you. Cards on the table, we're both showing hearts, risking it although it's hard, 'cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I'll give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning, 'cause I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. Oh.
Get your local up-to-date news from Korea and abroad right here on Morning Wave in Busan with Catherine. Stay tuned.
it is time for our segment called The Hell. That means Bonnie's here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Doesn't it feel weird, this distance?
Yeah.
I feel like we're so
far away.
I know. On camera it doesn't look like that, but this table is like, I call it like the CEO table. Yeah. I hate that table.
With an empty, but it's empty.
But it's empty.
I'm like, who am I talking to here?
and like, we were talking this off air, the lighting. I hate the lighting. It's like, don't you feel like you're washed out?
Yeah.
And like Haley said it off air. Yeah. But anyways, I'm not complaining.
I feel for you.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not going to be in this seat next week.
If you guys saw me in person, you would be like, why do you have so much blush on? And then when I'm sitting there, it gets washed out.
Now I see.
Yeah, there's a reason. I look like a clown every morning. All right. Let's jump into our segment for today. What do you have for us?
Okay, so today we have a very simple, but I think very important topic. It's smiling. Yes, how smiling can actually rewire your brain.
Oh.
Yeah, so usually we smile when we feel good, when we are happy, and it shows other people that we are happy, right? Our emotions are positive. But actually, smiling works in the reverse as well. It's bi-directional.
Bi-directional?
Yes, meaning that the smiling can actually make you happy as well. So now the science behind it. Science has proven just the act of smiling can lift your mood, lower your stress, boost your immune system, and even make you live longer.
Live longer?
Live longer. The research even says by years.
Oh.
It's improved by years.
So by us smiling like all the time, Bonnie and I.
Yeah, you're increasing your lifespan.
Okay, I like.
So the science behind this, the smile causes the release of neuropeptides.
Okay.
And these tiny little molecules, they help you to reduce stress. And it also causes the chemical reaction in your brain to release endorphins, which are natural painkillers.
Sure.
Dopamine and serotonin, which are natural antidepressants. And all of these things increase your happiness and make you feel positive emotions. So a study by the Journal of Neuropsychology reported seeing a nice smile, the nice smiling face activates your orbitofrontal cortex. And that's the part of your brain that processes sensory rewards. So when you see someone smile, you're actually feeling like somebody is rewarding you, like giving you a present almost.
Oh, really?
Right? So how do you feel when you get a present or when you receive something? You feel good, right? It elates you. So the same thing happens when you have a smile given to you. You have those feelings that come out. So NBC News also reported that the science of I'm going to see if I can say that, psychoneuroimmunology, which is the study of how the brain is connected to your immune system. So it's shown over and over again how depression actually weakens your immune system. So the more sad feelings you have, the more likely you are to get physically sick.
Okay.
And then the opposite is true. So actually happiness helps to boost your body's resistance to sicknesses. So smiling makes you happy, happy makes you healthy.
That I see the connection, and I think it makes perfect sense. So all the times I have smiled for all you wavers out there. I'm sending you gifts.
Yes, exactly.
So don't ask for coffee coupons. I'm sending you gifts every morning.
The easiest and cheapest way to send somebody a gift, right?
Yes.
And so there's this thing called facial feedback hypothesis. So this is the physical act of smiling. Like actually your physical smile, your lips spreading her out and giving that nice smile, not only sends a signal to others that you're happy, but it also sends a signal to your own brain that you are happy. So this triggers those positive emotions, and the brain can't tell if you are faking it or not.
So it's true, fake it until you make it?
Oh, yeah. In this case, very much so.
Okay.
So even if you're not feeling happy or positive, if you are smiling, it's sending the signal to your brain, oh, we are happy. Everything's okay.
Yes.
And so over time, if you keep on doing this, it can lead to genuine feelings of happiness and contentment. Right? So that you're continuing to just lower that stress level, and lower your heart rate just by smiling. So even if you're in an intense situation, maybe at work scenario, or maybe even out in public, maybe even in traffic. Some of you wavers out there might be dealing with this right now.
You're supposed
feeling
to smile?
frustrated. Yeah, smiling, and you're going to reduce that stress and lower your heart rate physically. So you're helping your body deal with stressful situations just by physically smiling.
Do we have any people sitting in traffic? And Bonnie's asking us to smile.
Just smile, even if you don't feel like it.
Smile, force it,
Yeah.
and then feel the muscles
You can
turn
do it.
up. And it'll send a signal to your brain.
Yeah. And this is such an interesting study. A study done at the University of Cardiff in Wales found that people who couldn't frown because they had Botox actually were happier on average than those who could frown. So really, when you can't frown,
Right.
you actually have more maybe negative emotions that you have.
I have a message for you. Leslie says, well, unless it's a creepy smile. And then Tommy says, now I do tapping, deep breathing, and smiling.
And smile. Oh, great. Yeah. Put this on your list of things to do, everybody.
Yes, Bonnie's
every day.
list. Yes.
So I'm going to tell you another really important benefit.
Yes.
And some of you guys might really like this, is it improves your productivity at work.
Smiling and productivity?
Yes. So it can actually make you a better employee and make you a more efficient worker. So studies have actually found that you are more likely to get promoted and be approached by your boss the more you smile. So if you are wanting a promotion at work, maybe you need to smile a little more. And studies published in The Guardian found a team of economists performed a range of experiments to test this theory. So group one, they watched some sort of comedy skit for about 10 minutes before they did a task. Group two watched kind of a boring film on colored sticks or something random. So group one was actually 12% more productive, while group two was 10% less productive.
Wow.
So if you are a boss at work, or maybe you have coworkers that aren't really pulling their weight, maybe you need to smile more at them. That will maybe in turn make them smile, and that will make them more efficient workers.
Hey, so to all the bosses out there, you start the chain. Why don't you start the chain?
Exactly.
The smiling to all your employees, and then, maybe that will get them smiling and make them more productive and just more pleasant to be around.
And smiling is contagious.
I agree.
Literally proven it is contagious. So if you smile at them, more likely they will smile back.
That's true, though.
And there's scientific reason behind this.
Okay.
Because we have mirror neurons. So mirror neurons enable us to copy or reflect behaviors or feelings of those around us. So this is true for sadness as well. If someone around you is really down or they're feeling really frustrated, they're very sad, sometimes you mirror that as well.
That rubs off on you.
Yeah.
I definitely feel it.
And if someone is very positive, they're very uplifting, they're really excited about something, you also mirror that as well. You feel a little bit more excited and happy because of them. And then also, think about when you see a smile. What is that reflecting? Kindness, empathy, compassion.
That's true.
So because you know what that smile means behind, the emotions behind that smile, the reason behind it, you also want to return that back to the giver as well, right? So that's just another reason why we want to reciprocate that smile. And smiling is actually something you can practice, something that you can do. Like I said, even if you're feeling down or frustrated, you can force that smile, and that will trick your brain into letting you feel a little bit better. The more you practice it, the better you'll get at suppressing those stress hormones, controlling your emotions, and the better you can deal with tense situations. So think of it as a strategy that you can use throughout your life to actually deal with stressful situations. And overall, it will have a better effect on your brain and your body. And it feels really strange at first when you're feeling down to force that smile.
Right.
And I know some of us have to do this if you're at work or in front of your family. And I don't mean if you're really having intense feelings of depression or sadness.
Right.
Definitely seek out professional help.
Right.
But, just on a day-to-day, if you're just feeling frustrated about something small, we tend to kind of get down on ourselves.
Sure.
Or, like I said, mirror neurons. If somebody else is down, you tend to do that too. But think about just walking through the metro station or walking through the street. If you make eye contact with somebody, maybe try smiling at them. We're living in this world where we have so much going on. People are really inundated with just themselves, but we forget how much power we have over each other, even strangers. And even something as simple as a smile can really change somebody's day. You never know what somebody else out there is going through. Maybe they are going through a loss in their life, or maybe something really sad. A smile at them, even if you are a complete stranger, can really uplift their mood.
So I was trying to imagine, I take the subway a couple times a week, and then I'm trying to think back. Most of the expressions on people's faces are kind of expressionless.
Yes.
It's not they're pouting, but they're not necessarily smiling either. They're kind of busy in their own little bubble.
Yeah.
and maybe looking down at their phone or whatever they have in their hands, but no one's really smiling.
Yeah. And have you ever been in that situation where someone smiles at you and you kind of are like taken aback?
Yeah,
Why
like,
are they smiling?
Exactly.
At me? Or somebody at the market, or even someone dealing with face to face, someone getting on the bus.
Right.
If the bus driver is smiling at you and happy, it in turn makes you want to smile back at them.
But
right?
that's true.
But the opposite is also true. Maybe if you smile at the bus driver, maybe they will smile at everybody that gets on the bus, and think about how many more smiles that might cause in effect.
No, because I was thinking, like, when I get on, the elevator in my apartment, like, I always do the insa, the obligatory, like, oh, 네, 안녕하세요. And then, like, I don't really, a slight smile, but then, like, when it's kids or babies, like, I'm going, like, all out, like, hi, whatever. But then the child usually always smiles back.
Yes.
So it is, like, kind of, it's not necessarily a reflex, but what were you saying, the mirror neurons, right, working. So, I go out of my way to, like, appear friendly, because I'm thinking, like, from a child's perspective, they're looking up, and, we're significantly taller than the baby in the stroller. So, like, I always try to, like, smile and do that. But I was thinking, if I did that to an adult, will they think I'm a little...
Maybe, but
crazy?
the chance is maybe they're having a bad day and maybe you just made them feel so much better. Right? So all of our daily interactions when you are face-to-face with somebody, try smiling at them. It's not only good for you and your health, but it might actually change their day and in turn change everybody else's day for the better. So what a positive thing we can do for the world just by smiling.
And we have additional comments like, should I smile when my room controller, aka wife, is really upset? Yes, that would definitely help. If your wife is upset at you, Tommy, then that means if you smile, she might hate you a little less, or like she might forgive you much more quickly. I don't know what you did wrong. or what you did to irk her, but
and over time it will turn into maybe a genuine smile. So just keep doing it, and then after a while it will just become real.
Oh yeah, you never know. So you smile, and then she'll probably smile just because you're smiling. And then maybe you can just kind of dust off whatever it is that was coming between you guys. So that sounds like a plan. I think that's totally doable.
Try it.
All right. We will. The next time I get on the subway, which is probably going to be like tomorrow, I'm going to try it.
Yes.
So I'll tell you about my little experiment.
Yes, let's try it. Everybody, throughout the day, let's smile at each other.
All right. Well, we're going to call it a wrap for today. Thank you so much for bringing us another great one, and we'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Bonnie.
Bye-bye.
And this was The Health, everybody, with Bonnie. It's time to wrap up our Tuesday. So how about this one? I know this song has been really hot as of late as well. So this is Mantra by Jenny. Enjoy and have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.
Pretty no more, just that flawed, just touchdown. Pretty. This that pretty girl mantra, this that flaunt, you just touched down in LA. Pretty girls don't do drama unless we wanna, it'll be depending on the day. Pretty girl freaking a defender, no I'm a defender, never let it catch no stray. This that pretty girl mantra, she's that stun, I make you wanna swing both ways. Mix me with the drama, check you like commas. My clothes are pajamas, straight from the cold plunge. Daytime better using my iron, quick switch at a fit for the night. Soaring through the lane, we'll be 20 minutes late, cause we have to do it in our drive-by. Not that deep, I'm not that drunk. Sometimes girls just gotta have fun. Throw it back, all that ass. Me and my sis, we're two with that. Not that deep, but not that dumb. Look at them bodies on the run. Inside glowing like the sun. You're gonna feel this every day. This that pretty girl mantra, this that flaunt, you just touched down in LA. Pretty girls don't do drama unless we wanna, it'll be depending on the day. Pretty girls freaking a defender, no I'm a defender, never let it catch no stray. This that pretty girl mantra, she's that stun, I make you wanna swing both ways. Ooh, what it feel like to be off for the green light all night. Ooh, and I'll be like we ain't even trying to talk no more. Swerve off for the briefs, no weird vibes. We ain't never let it ruin our good time. Ain't nobody gon' dim all that light. This them words we're living by. This that pretty girl mantra, this that flaunt, you just touched down in LA. Pretty girls don't do drama unless we want.
BeFM.